Again, thanks a lot for you, all of you. This is the first of an initial series of 4 webinars organized by Open DEI, and it's part of the coordinating and support actions that Open DEI represents, and it's within the framework of the digital transformation topics that, as you know, the European Commission is currently funding and underpinning under the ongoing Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. My name is Giorgio Micheletti. I'm from IDC, and as Torsten said, I'm coordinating the this Open DEI project. So I will move to the next slide. Let me see if it does work, because okay, so what is Open DEI? In fact, Open DEI is a supporting coordination action that started in June 2019. It lasts for 36 months, so it will go on for the next 2 years, and it represents actually 9 beneficiaries. So we have 9 partners taking part of this coordination and supporting action. We've got IDC, as I said, so the coordinator. We've got International Data Spaces Association. So thank you to Torsten, Sebastian, and Lars, and Sylvia also for representing and being the major, I would say, speaker in this context. We've got 2 technical partners, so the Fireware Foundations and Atos, and engineering as well, so 3 technical partners. And we have also 4 partners who are specifically devoted to focus on 4 domains, as we call them, so 4 sectors, 4 industry sectors where this supporting and coordination actions is actually active, and I will spend a few words on this. So we've got Innovalia taking care of the manufacturing sector, we've got ITEL for the health and care sector, we've got the Technical University of Aachen in Germany, so RWTH, for the energy sector, and we've got in Italy Tecnoalimenti for the agri-food sector. Where Open DEI, so where does this come from and what is the background of all this? Well, the trick here is the DEI acronym here. So DEI stands for Digitizing European Industry. Digitizing European Industry is a strategy that the European Commission launched exactly 4 years ago. It was in April 2016, and the main aim of this initiative and strategy is to make sure that essentially the use of digital technologies are made possible across every industry in Europe by all types of companies and organizations in across all sectors in Europe. Why? Because we need to obviously protect and I would say increase our competitiveness and strengthen our competitiveness as Europeans vis-a-vis other regions of the world where the digitization process is up and running, and we don't want to miss anything out here, and we need coordination at EU and national level. So moving to the next slide, some additional words on the Digitizing European Industry initiative. I'm not going into detail, of course, but the attention that I would like to draw to you today is on this nice picture, the circle that you see in the middle of this slide, and areas, or if you see that there are 4 focus areas, as use the European Commission jargon here. So the first sector here on top right, then it's also taking care of skills and jobs. It's also addressing the regulatory issues and the framework underpinning the digitization in Europe. And there is also a specific focus area on digital innovation hubs. Where does Open DEI stand in all of this? Well, it stands in the first top right corner of this picture, so in the partnership and platforms, and specifically on the platforms and pilots topic. This is, I think, important to understand and to underline, because this is where most of what we're going to hear today is actually related to. So we're talking platforms and different pilots of different projects that are developing platforms. We are necessarily talking about data sharing. So we are exchanging data. In order to do this, we'll have to need a solid data ecosystem. We need a solid data sharing infrastructures, and ultimately, we're talking here about a common data space, right? And this is exactly what our colleagues from IDC are going to develop in the next few minutes. So moving to the next slide, well, OpenDI as a project, as I said, is part of this focus area on platforms and pilots, but it's not alone, as you can see in these slides, and according to the bullets points that are indicated here. It's not alone in the sense that the platforms and pilots focus area touches upon a wealth of different topics. We're going from digital manufacturing platforms for connected smart factories to platforms for the agricultural rural sector, but we also include energy elements like smart homes and smart grids and big data solutions for the energy sectors. And clearly we touch upon the health and care sectors, just to name a few. But in order to make sense of all of this, and I would say to work across this varied and I would say kind of complicated environment, then we need some sort of coordination. We need an horizontal layer that coordinates all these initiatives and funded initiatives in the areas that I just mentioned. And we need this coordination because we need to identify the synergies among all these initiatives and projects. We need to avoid duplications, overlapping. We need to exploit the common outcomes from all these projects. Clearly, we need to prioritize and make sure that we do not reinvent the wheel all the times. And we need a promotion of the results coming out of these projects in a coordinated fashion in order to cross-fertilize and leverage on the lessons learned. And this is precisely the role of OpenDI as a supporting and coordination action. So moving to the next slides, a few more detail of OpenDI in terms of topics that is currently developing and delving into. We've got different topics and different issues, but in particular, I would like to draw your attention on the fact that OpenDI is working and will work even more in the next few months on aspects like the common architectures and reference architectures across all these platforms and in the different projects. We are discussing and how to improve the interoperability and the standard issues related to these platforms. And again, the elements of data here is of paramount importance. We're also developing common methodologies for designing, testing, and validating the different results of the projects in scope. In order to measure somehow the impact coming out of these projects. And once again, we need to promote the results and make sure that there is a vibrant ecosystem, so an ecosystem that takes advantage, but at the same time that leverages all these results and transfer these results and this information. Moving to the next slide. So how are we going to do this? Again, I'm not going into the details of how we are organized or all our internal cuisine. It's probably not relevant for this audience and at this stage. But essentially, I'd like to stress the fact that OpenDI has taken since the beginning we call a fourfold approach. So we have 4 main areas that are taken care of by our partners and are divided into 4 different work package. Again, to use the jargon that is in use in these types of actions and projects. So if we start from the top right hand side, so from the left top hand side, so we've got work package 2 that is looking at the Digital Platforms Federation. So here we need to make sure that there is interoperability frameworks and there are reference architectures to make sure that the platforms can liaise with each other. There is another, if we move to the right, there's another work package that looks into the pilots, all these projects in all the areas that I highlighted before. Here we need, in a sense, to map what is out there. So who are all these projects, what they do. We need to keep track of them, track the results, and also provide some sort of benchmarking, not just to say who is good and who is bad, but I mean to understand who is doing this and who is there, and provide some comparison, some framework for comparison of all these projects. Then if we move to the left bottom, then we have a specific work package, so an area that is taking care of the ecosystem. So here, the magic word, as you know, when we talk about ecosystem, is to make a vibrant ecosystem. So if we want to make a vibrant ecosystem, then we need to make sure that this ecosystem is regularly engaged, and that we have tools to constantly transfer the results and make sure that there is a constant dialogue among all these projects. And then we have another area that is the related to transfer to standardizations and interoperability, not because we want to invent and create yet a new standard. This is not our purpose, but we want to facilitate the usage of a common or set of common standards that are already out there. We want to identify what is the best and how we can promote and make sure that these standards are applied across the whole platform and pilots focus areas. We have finally the big one in the middle here, a specific work package dedicated to dissemination and communications, precisely because what we produce needs to be cross-fertilized and made aware. We need to make awareness, create awareness around ours and others' results as well. These two areas are particularly so. Both standardizations and specifically this work package 6 on dissemination communications is the part of work where this webinar and this series of webinars is organized. One more slide, if I can change. Okay, I said we take a fourfold approach. Now, this fourfold approach applies also from the sectoral perspective. So we're looking into, as I said at the beginning, when presenting the different partners and beneficiaries of this supporting and coordination action, or OPEN DEI. So we're looking in particular of 4 different sectors. We've got the manufacturing area, we've got the agri-food sectors, we got the energy sectors, and we got the health and care sectors. Now, all these sectors are populated by a series of projects. We count at the moment of talking 26 plus projects that we have under our remit in terms of coordination. Some of these projects are slowly coming to an end. Others have just begun. So there is an element of complexity also here in coordinating all these different interventions, and that's why that's one of the other reasons why we are here. And I think with that, I've provided some basic introduction to the project. I'm not sure how it works with the Q&A, but I guess this will be at the end, so I'm more than happy to take questions probably when we have this session at the end.